Hello, this is Robert Baca, the Socorro Genealogist, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. I'm going to present to you the 1950 census. I'm going to show you easy ways to use this program. You can find it at the National Archives, so it's available to everyone. It is free. Other places will be showing it. Family Search, Ancestry, and such um, are developing tools uh, to search these censuses right now and are downloading the information. I'm not quite sure where they're at right now, so I'm going to just start with the National Archives, which is actually a fairly decent system. So let me do this first. Let me share with you the the page and the best way to get to it. All right, is to look for archives.gov, archives.gov, archives.gov. It is a government website. And as you can see, you'll come across this, the National Archives. There are many different things you can find in the National Archives. You could order service records. There's educator resources. I'm a teacher myself, so I like to use these resources. And then there's also records that you could pick up. One of them, of course, being the 1950 census. So if you go down the page, again on archives.gov, you'll see this thing that says 1950 census. And if you notice, all you have to do is click it, boom, and you're in the 1950 census. Gives you some information about it. It has a link right here. I don't know if you can see that link. And it has some information. It has videos that could help you out on the side. It's got information about the census main page, about the census, etc. So the first thing I want to do is just to go to the actual census. So you click on this 1950 census archives.gov. If you wanted to, you could actually just go straight to this link, uh, but it's easy enough to find it off the archives place. And then you'll find here, welcome to the official 1950 census. It includes a bunch of different things. For instance, there's approximately 6.57 million population schedules. Um, 33,316 Indian reservation schedules. These are pages. 9,634 enumeration district maps images, 234,447 enumeration district descriptions, location and name-based search capabilities, and name transcription capabilities. Um, and it gives you some more information about what all this means. And you can search all that if you want to, but or look at it if you want to. But I want to actually start to go. Actually, let's look at some things. Let's look at resources. So, for instance, you can pull up in resources. I just click that button. The 1950s blank forms, and the reason why you might want to do that is to see what they look like. So here are the what the forms look like. Um, you can see the various different things. It's kind of interesting about these censuses. They have fewer questions than the 1940 census, which is unfortunate. But in that they're asking fewer questions. The 1940 census had a lot of information, for instance, regarding New Deal programs, whether a person was out of a job, where they were living 5 years prior, all this sort of stuff. You don't see that in the 1950 census. We're out of the Great Depression. World War II has ended. We won the war. And so we're now starting up as a country again, and people are starting to buy houses, and young couples are moving in. These soldiers are coming back from war. They're having children. The baby boom is beginning. A really good time during our country. Of course, there was other problems during this time too. Segregation was rampant and all that. But as far as um, prosperity, there was a lot of prosperity uh, occurring in the United States. We were becoming a wealthy nation at this time. So I clicked on the search section. So I could have done that from the previous page, but I did from the page prior to going into resources. But if you look over here, you have search, resources, and about. So I clicked on search, and you'll see this right here. You have state. And so I'm going to pick New Mexico. You can pick any of the states or territories of the United States. And then you've got a bunch of different um, thing, uh, places. Bernalillo starts off with Bernalillo. I'm assuming it's going to go alphabetically from there. I haven't actually looked at it. But a simpler way to do this is to look for the county. So I'm interested in Socorro County. So I put New Mexico and I put Socorro. All right. And now I have um, all the various communities of Socorro County, including a few um, places in Socorro itself. Now, notice you have these here, and this is a good way to look at this. You have ED uh, numbers. These are enumeration districts. So it starts off with 28.1, uh, and it says what state it is, what New Mexico, and how many pages are in this. And then I'll tell you what it is. Enumeration district description. Socorro City comprising parts of election precincts 1, Socorro, and 24. Socorro City, that part of Ward 1 in election precinct 1. Socorro bounded by city limits, Socorro Ditch, Otero Avenue, Bernard, Fisher Avenue, Grant Avenue, US Highway 60, city limits. And then you'll notice here there's an ED map, and you can actually look at this map and see what area you're talking about. And so you've got this thing here that shows you what 28.1 is. And so if you're looking for a specific place and you know that area, you can look over here. You've got 28.1 there, 28.5, or dash 5 rather, 28 dash 2, 28 dash 7, 28 dash 3, etc. Okay. And then if you look over here, let's see if we can close that up. Okay. Well, no, not a big deal. Then you also have what's called population schedules. And you can see that right there. It starts off with a front page. And all I'm doing here is clicking this. If you have a mouse that scrolls and such, you can actually go up and down, make this larger and smaller. Um, and you can, this is just kind of the front page, tells you what it is. For instance, it says New Mexico, Socorro County, Socorro City, and let's see, it has a number of names of clerks who worked on this. Uh, let's see, what else does it have here? Population, uh, dwellings and units, 331. Persons in the population schedule 1838. So they counted 1,838 people in a specific thing. It also has, it usually has, it doesn't have it here, the name of the numerator, address, and telephone sometimes. Then if you look down here, you also have this little button right here, next item, and you can do back if you're past the first page. Click that, you get the first page. And you'll look up here, and there's a few things you're going to look for. For instance, you're going to look for, here we go. Larry Saavedra was enumerated. He was the guy who did this. April 3rd of 1950 is when this was taken. It's sheet number 1. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Sheet number 1. And then this is a 1950 census population and housing. In the form number, they may have some other information up there. Then they have these various different columns that explains line number, names of street, house and apartment number, serial number, dwelling unit. So they give you a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. In this house, a farm or a ranch? Is this house on a place of 3 or 4 more acres? Um, Agricultural questionnaire number. So if that you were on a farm, they'll have another form that you could look up for agriculture. What is the name of the head of the household? All the names of the people that live there, what they are: head, wife, daughter, grandson, mother-in-law, lodger, etc., etc. Okay. Uh, Race. Okay. You have white, Negro, American Indian, Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, other race spell out. Male and female. How old was he or his last on his last birthday? And like they do a long time ago, they make this not gender specific. He means anything other than actually he. It could be he, she, you know, whatever. And then other information regarding this person. Okay, including employment. Who what kind of work was he doing? For instance, nail heels on shoes, chemistry professor, farmer, whatever. It's interesting that they pick those. What's the industry they worked in, and the class of worker: private, government, owned business, without pay, on family farm, or business. So that is the first one, but I'm going to look at a different one. Oh, and there are ways to search. I'm going to explain something here, though. You may have difficulty finding specific people. This is using a program um, that looks at handwriting and makes estimations. Also, if you're going to look for the name Baca, you're going to get a lot of names in Socorro. Baca, a very common name, but it gives you different things. Like, for instance, it shows here in the enumeration district 28-15, you have a Baca on line 15 or 25 rather. Sorry. So you click on that and you look for line 25. I meant 25, not 15. And you come across, well, that's not Baca. I don't know where they got that Baca from. Okay, I don't know. That's weird. There's Bacas up here. Maybe, yeah, okay. Jose with his wife Francis. Okay, but you have various different things, and you'll see that there's more. For instance, here's another one, 28.5. Again, it's saying Baca 25, so I don't know what that 25 stands for. But you look and you'll probably find a Baca or two in there. Yep, Maria Anna Baca and her daughter Esther. You see that? All right. Okay, you could do it that way. You can even put a last and first name. So, for instance, if I wanted to find my grandfather or my dad, I've already searched this, so I already found them. Uh, but I could do Baca Robert or Robert Baca, and see if I find them. There is a Baca Robert on this one, and I think this is the one. Nope, it's a different one. Eloisa is the wife. That's not my Baca. Okay. So there may be another one. This one just says Baca. Jose Baca. I don't see a Robert in there, but it may be in there somewhere. Okay. Maybe there's a Robert in there and a Baca. But I find that is not the easiest way to find someone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that. So look over here. Here's your search: New Mexico, Socorro, and Robert Baca. I'm going to get rid of Robert Baca. And I am just going to look through one of these enumeration districts. I'm going to pick one down here. see if I can find it. I'm going to look for Luis Lopez. Luis Lopez is a community south of Socorro, where many of my grand uh, grandfather's family lived. My maternal grandfather, my mother's father, and so I'm going to look at that and see if I can find them. There's Lematar, there's Polvadera, Savanal, La Jolla, Shoal, San Antonio, Kelly. Kelly's near Magdalena, Magdalena, again, Magdalena, San Marcial, Clyde, White Sands Proving Ground. Oh, watch this. This is kind of cool. I saw this earlier today. There's no population in the White Sands Proving Ground. Okay. San Juan. There we go. Luis Lopez. So let's pull up Luis Lopez. I already kind of went through this myself. And I'm going to do something here. I'm going to try to change the size of this so that we can see this better. I'm using Control Plus to make it bigger. I might actually want to make it smaller and do Control, whoops, sorry about that. Control minus, and then do this here. Okay, so let's look at what we have here. This is where I had seen some interesting stuff. So you got New Mexico, Socorro County. The enumeration district is 2824. Precinct 21, Luis Lopez. Olivia Miera is the enumerator, and from Socorro. This isn't the one I looked at earlier. That's okay. I had seen one where it actually had the telephone number, and it had like 4 numbers and a letter. Then various clerks that worked on it. And then it says here, total population 187. So not a huge amount of people. It's one of the reasons why I picked this specific one. If they lose this, you can mail it to the state and such. Okay, so I can either move around by clicking on one of these boxes here, down here, one of these thumbnails, or I can use this. I'm just going to use the next item and click that. All right, let's see. And I'm going to pull this up. So what I'm doing here is I'm just clicking on with my my mouse to bring that closer. And what else do they have here? Let's see. You can download this information, by the way. I just clicked these 3 dots here. You can download this entire thing. You can do different types of displays. This is probably the best display. Expand image. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's just to do various things. Contrast. You can change things on this. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. So you look at this and you've got this again is a ED number 2824. Again, you have Alvino Mieta. It's a Mieta. I don't know who that is. I'm going to have to look that person up. I have a number of Mietas in my family tree. And then you'll see the families. So you have the first family here, number 1. Okay. Van Landingham Bob G, it looks like. Mary, his wife. Tommy, Bobby Sue. So it's a girl right there. And then you have, I think this is the race. Yeah, white. Male, female. Ages 26, 26, 5, and 2. Where if they were married, MAR means married in this census. NEV means they were never married. Obviously, a 5-year-old is not married. Where they were born, Missouri, New Mexico. Now, one thing I noticed on here is it doesn't, like previous censuses, it doesn't show the where their parents are born. Okay, you go on further. It's got various different things. If you want to see what it is, you can look those up. But you have occupation, farmer, and he works on a farm. Okay, it looks like I think O means that it's his own business, so he owns the farm. Okay, and I probably somewhere earlier here, I think this is probably. Uh, Oh, how many hours did you work last week? 48. He's a pretty busy guy. You'll see some people have many hours of working and some very few. Um, but it says how many. So we'll go along. Muncie, another family. Let's see who else do I have. Tolliver. Let me bring this down a little bit. Uh, Van Lundingham. Uh, House. Not no one at home. You'll see a lot of these. It kind of freaks me out because there's people that they didn't enumerate, it looks like. And then here's a family member, Sidiaco Gonzalez. This is the father. Ramona Baca. Ramona Baca was my grandfather Santiago's sister. Ramona Baca Gonzalez. She died just a few years back. You can see in the 1950 census, which is 32 years ago, she was 39 years old, while Sidiaco was 44. Okay, what were they doing? Let's see. Let's see what type of work they had. Farmer on a farm. Okay, worked 60 hours. Pretty busy man. Okay, so Sidiaco, 44 years old. Then they have their son, Sidiaco, who I've communicated with. I believe he's still around. He was 16 on this. Josefita, Amadita, Rafael, and Edwin, who I actually know. He was a pharmacist in Socorro. Then you got Montoya's. Okay. Now, here's an interesting thing. It says 21 left confidential income report form. And who was 21? Let's see. Go back up here. That was no one. I don't know what that's all about. Okay. So uh maybe I don't know what that's all about. You go down further and you'll notice up here you have a few of these lines that have the square and the circle around it. These are sample lines. Sample line 28, sample line 23, sample line 18, etc. And if you go down here, you'll find some additional information. So you got 3, 8, 13, etc. And if you go over here, they ask questions like, uh, what county and state was he living in a year ago? Again, they like to use he when they mean she sometimes. And then they tell you where, you know, Socorro, that's the county. Socorro. Looks like everybody that they questioned there was living in Socorro year prior. Um, then you go over here. This is where they actually have where father and mother was born. U.S., 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 yes. Everybody's born in U.S. And then some other questions. I don't even know what these are. I haven't even looked at these. Oh, school. How many years attended school? And it gives you that. That used to be a standard question that they asked everybody. How many weeks was he had been looking for work, etc. So these are just for a few of the people on here. Okay. So let's go on to the next one, next page. So I just clicked on that little arrow there, and I wanted to bring up some other names. So we got some Montoyas, uh, uh, Ignio Montoya. You've got Ezekiel Saavedra, uh, Sarita Baca. Cerrito was my grandfather's uncle, and then his two daughters, who I have not found that they were ever married. Um, and they're living with their father there, 46 and 41 years old, taking care of him most likely. Okay. So that's Cerrito Baca, my grandfather's uncle. That is one of the the communities, Luis Lopez. There are a number of communities. Again, you can look these up. Socorro County, for instance, or you can look up any county. You look if you know the state and the county that your family's living in. Later on, once Ancestry and Family Search and all that have done a proper created search engines to look for this stuff, and have people listed the names on these. You'll be able to search for specific people. So if you're looking for a Robert Baca in New Mexico and you're not quite sure where he was from, you can search for that person. But right now it's a little bit more difficult. But I actually like looking at the entire community, because you can see family members, you can see cousins and brothers and sisters and parents um, living in the same area, and that's always important, because it helps you, one, understand who these people were and who their family were. And you'll find out what they did. Were they teachers? Were they farmers? Did they work for the government? What did they do? My grandparents, my maternal grandparents, my mother's parents, um, they show that they are owners of businesses, which they were. It says that my grandfather worked for retail grocery, and my grandmother worked for a retail clothing store. Uh, and those businesses were probably right next to each other or in the same building. I have no idea. I've heard a few stories about their businesses, and I've seen a few things. I'm not exactly sure the layout of all this. So there's all kinds of interesting things that you can find out. You know, delve into this. Take you know a week and see what you can find. If you've never done genealogy before, this may be your start. I suggest writing down the information. There are forms that you should be able to find that you can print up. I'll see if I can find some, and I'll put them on the bottom of this link here. And I'll put some other resources for you, including the link to the National Archives site. So again, good luck. Have fun searching. If you have any questions, put some questions in the comments, and maybe I can answer them for you. Have a good day.